So we're going to take a look at MULN. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at 91 cents, being up 5.59%. On the low, it tested 82 cents, and then on the high, testing 94 cents. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 52.498 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 48.292 million shares. So we had above average volume, and we saw some strength in the stock. When we take a look at our chart, we're using our 30-minute chart. I want you guys to pay attention to the levels. You remember what I said in the previous video? You want to see MULN making that break above 92 cents, which was the high on the previous day. Well, that's exactly what we got, and we ended up getting all the way to 94 cents. So that is going to be a level you're going to want to watch, so let's mark that. So going into tomorrow, if we have price action above 94, the next level that we want to see is right here around 98. Now, if we decide to have a pullback, where do I want to see support? Most preferably, I want to see higher lows. This shows us that it's bullish. So if we're able to stay above 89 cents, I think that'd be a really good look, which is right where we have the 21 EMA. If we decide to break through that level, then I want to see support coming in at least around 87 cents to 86 cents. Holding these levels will be really good for MULN. So make sure you add that to your notes. And like I said previously, if we can get to that 92 cent range, hold support and bounce between that and 95, then there's a good chance we can make that move to 98. I know I sound like a broken record, but I want you guys to be fully aware of that. But what we can see from the overall trend, we are seeing these higher lows. From August the 1st, it was as low as 76 cents. And then you can see here, right here on the second, hitting that low of 82 cents. So that's why I'm saying higher lows is a bullish sign. Let's see a continuation. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for MULN. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings, we have Clear Street LLC that purchased 149,834 shares, and then we have Clear Street LLC again with puts with a value of 150,500 shares. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 51.59%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 29.18 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 200,000, updated 5 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 45.50%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of August the 1st, it was at 51.59, and then for the close of the second being at 52.25. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 15.83%, MULN does continue to have short squeeze potential. So we're going to take a look at the chart for Palantir. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $10.92, being up 4.30%. On the low, it tested $10.26, and then on the high, testing $11.23. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 40.852 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 33.267 million shares. So we had above average volume and we saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, we're actually going to be using the daily chart. It's been a minute since we took a look at Palantir. So the first thing I want to show you, it is looking very bullish. And the first thing that stands out like a sore thumb is the higher lows. So we could see back here on May the 12th, we saw a low around $6. And then when we speed up, we go all the way here to around June the 13th. We had a low at $7.50, and then also you can see here, and we're starting off for June the 30th, and as well as taking into consideration July the 15th, a low of $8.69, and now Palantir is now trading, and it closed at $10.92. So if we want to see this trend continue, since they do have earnings that is coming up on August the 8th, which will be next week, I'd want to see if Palantir can make a move going to at least $12 prior. It saw a high at $11.23, and it saw some resistance. You know why this is not surprising? Because this was resistance all the way back here on the 29th of April. That's why looking at these charts can give you a good idea of where a stock could potentially go and where it could have a pullback. And what does this look like? This is what we call a supply zone, especially between $11.23 and taking into consideration $11. So what that shows us, there are a lot of sellers up here, but the moment it could break through out of this zone, that's where I want to see Palantir making that move to $12, because there's not much resistance after it breaks out of it. So please add that 2-year notes. If it decides to have a pullback, it did test a low at $10.26, so I want to see a higher low. Most preferably, I want to see Palantir being able to hold at least above $10.47. You can see over a good portion of days since the market has been trending up, Palantir has formed higher lows and higher highs consistently. Like I said, this chart is very bullish. Let's see if we can have a continuation of that, and it'd be great to see if we can get to $12 prior to earnings. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Palantir. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for August the 2nd, we have 2 closed positions here, but we have a new position from Versant Capital Management Inc. that purchased 29 shares. And if we take a look at for the first, we have Vanguard that purchased 788,200 shares, and Vanguard again that purchased just under 297,000 shares, and Empowered Funds LLC that purchased 10,162 shares. Scrolling down further, let's see what we have for the first. We have Asset Management Corp that went in with calls with a value of 7,000. We have Eversource Wealth Advisors LLC with 50 shares. We have DFPG Investments LLC with 10,425 shares, and Castle Wealth Management LLC with 651 shares. You see some more closed positions, and we have Mozan Fitzgerald Tomeo LLC that purchased 230 shares, and that's about it as far as going back as August the 1st. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 44.27%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 6.99 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 10 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 0.25%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the first, it was at 44.27, and then for the close of the second being at 43.45. So it went down a little bit, and then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 6.23%, Palantir doesn't have short squeeze potential. And that pretty much wraps up the video. I hope you guys found this helpful, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to give the video a like, and if you're new to the channel, then subscribe.